Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, and I'm happy to be here with you. If you're watching live, great. And if you're watching by recording, I'm still very glad you're here. And I'd love for you to drop me a note and let me know what's going on in your life, just that you were even here and watching with me. Let me know if these Monday morning moments together are enjoyable for you or add value to you. Just drop a note and say, keep going, or great value, or thanks for sharing, or this meant a lot. Anything along those lines would be wonderful. I also want to encourage you to reach out to me to have a phone call with me because I would love to hear about you, what's going on in your life and in your workplaces. You know, our life has really changed with COVID, and while businesses are open for business outside, like salons are shut down again, and hair salons, nail salons, things like that are shut down, I noticed on the government site. However, if you can do your services outdoors, then you can be open. So maybe we'll have some pivoting with salons where they'll figure out a way to do their services outdoors. I know several friends who need their nails done. Anyway, blessings to all of you. And today I wanted to talk about psychological safety. What is psychological safety? And it's really the belief that you can speak up and ask questions and admit your concerns, request help, and just offer a dissenting opinion, an opinion that doesn't agree with other people maybe, and without the fear of being embarrassed or being retaliated against for sharing or asking for help or sharing your opinions. Um, Research shows that there are lots of teams that have greater psychological safety. They actually perform better. They share information more freely amongst themselves. They learn faster, and they're much more satisfied with their jobs. How are things at your workplace? Do you feel safe to share your opinion? Do you feel safe to tell your boss, I disagree with you, I have another perspective, I'd like to share it? Because these are really important. Do you feel that you can be genuine and openly share your perspective? And do you believe your teammates will give you the benefit of the doubt when something goes wrong or something is questionable about what you do? Because this is really important. Otherwise, you're really living in fear. We go to work and you're anxious and you're doing work that you may not agree with, and maybe you feel you have a better way to do it, and you don't feel that you're empowered to make those changes or even the recommendations to do that work. And it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to want to go to work every day. So this is one of the things I do with teams. I build teams' strength together, their communication styles, their collaboration together, to the building of the trust, developing the culture within the company to be one of curiosity and growth and empowerment. So today I just wanted to talk about psychological safety, and I really do care about what you say. And you may not feel comfortable posting what your circumstances are on Facebook, and I don't want to force you to do something you're not comfortable with, but I do want to hear from you. So you could just post that this is a great topic and you're greatly interested in this topic, or you can just reach out to me, which I would love, and we could just have a phone call conversation. And my website is CandaceMae.com, and on there you'll find my phone number and you'll find a way to schedule appointments with me. So I would love to connect, really. And I have a busy week this week because I'm doing more certification, a 6-day program for myself to become certified at a level 2 to offer some beautiful techniques of inner strength, developing inner peace, quieting your mind, having more magnetic presence, and so those are services that I offer individuals and groups on a more personal level than necessary just in work. So stick with me is what I'm saying. If I can't meet with you this week, I'll meet with you next week, but certainly reach out to me because I value you and want to hear about you. So psychological safety is really related to trust. While trust involves giving your teammates the benefit of the doubt, Psychological safety is believing your team will give you the benefit of the doubt, that you won't be resented or thought less of when you speak up or when you ask questions. How do you boost psychological safety? When team members show that they're really listening to you, they're paying attention, and they're open to different points of view, and you can disagree constructively, that psychological safety increases. You feel valued. You feel people seek out your opinion, and don't we all want someone to seek out our opinion and what we think? Now, as a team leader, it's extremely particularly important role in creating an environment of safety, physical safety and psychological safety, because as a team leader, if you don't display the behaviors that enable team members to feel safe, it's less likely the rest of the team will display them. Because remember, people do what people see. And everything rises and falls on leadership. It's extremely important that leaders are modeling the behavior they want to see in their teams. And so I work with leaders and developing leaders, brand new leaders, or working with existing people who've been in leadership roles and management roles. And I do coaching as well as coming in and doing team development. And we can do these virtually as well. So I want to give you 10 tips today that any team member, including yourself as a leader, can follow. I have 6 additional steps that are specific to leaders. I may share those as well, but I specifically want to share these 10 today for all team members to be able to increase psychological safety in your workplace. So the first tip is you can thank your team members for sharing their point of view, particularly when they disagree with you, because most people don't. They get in an argument. You don't need to argue. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to be angry that they have a view different than yours. Simply say, wow, John, I'm really grateful for you sharing your opinion. It's different than mine, and I really like being able to hear another point of view, something for me to think about. And you don't have to agree. You don't have to commit to anything. Just acknowledge it and thank them for sharing it. It reinforces that speaking up is expected in your team and that it's safe to have a differing point of view. You can thank someone for their perspective without saying you agree with them. The second tip I want to share is to summarize what other people said. This conveys that I get it. So tell your teammates that you're listening to them and their perspective matters by simply summarizing what you heard them say. Now here's this little tip. If someone summarizes to you what they heard you say and they didn't get it exactly right, don't get mad. Don't get mad. Just say, well, that's not quite what I was trying to say, and reiterate it and say it again another way so that they understand until they can repeat it back to you. Because sometimes people get angry when people don't understand them the first time they say something, and we don't want that to happen. So having this two-way conversation where you actually summarize what someone says is extremely helpful. The third tip, be careful about your facial expressions. This is funny because I am an extremely facial expression person. When I'm speaking with someone, oftentimes I will model the feeling that I'm hearing from them. And so if they're in a lot of pain, my face will take on the pain. So I have to be very consciously aware of my own facial expressions so that people don't misunderstand what's happening. So again, this tip is to be careful about your facial expressions. When you roll your eyes or look pained, your face may convey to the person that they're incompetent or pushy. That can shut down and may even discourage other team members from speaking up. So just be really cautious of your facial expressions. It's something I've been working on for quite some time. You don't want people to misunderstand, because when there's words and there's body language, people always pick up on the body language over the words. So make sure that you're conveying what you're feeling. And if you find that you're making a facial expression, then let them know, I'm feeling a lot of pain right now as I'm listening to you. And that could let them understand that you really are listening to them and that you care about them. The fourth tip is to focus on what's right, not who's right. You don't need to win every disagreement. It's easier to generate innovative ideas and engage in a creative discussion when you don't feel like you need to defend your position at all costs. So you're focusing on what's right in a conversation, not I'm right or I'm wrong and you're right, right? So it's all about the topic. Tip 5, don't tolerate a teammate saying negative things about another teammate. Sometimes people just need to vent, but when they start criticizing other teammates behind their back, other teammates begin to wonder, is anyone saying bad things about me too? And would my teammates stick up for me? So what do you do if someone is like just venting and saying something negative about someone else on the team? Maybe you say, Carol, I understand that you're upset with John, but have you gone to talk to John and let him know how you feel? That's where it needs to go. You need to point that person back to the original person to work out the issues so that you stay positive. I really don't want to get in the middle of your conversation or your concerns with him. I understand you're hurting, but maybe you could go talk to him directly and see what happens there. When people realize that you're not going to buy into the negativity, they will respect your boundaries. Tip 6, when you agree with someone or you like their ideas, state it out loud and not just in your head. Because how many times have you said, wow, that's a really good idea, or oh, this person looks great today, or oh, that's a great idea. I wish I had thought of that myself. Sometimes we agree with someone, but we don't actually say that we agree with them. We don't actually speak it out loud and let them know that we validate them. When we hear something we disagree with, we sometimes will speak up more so than when we do agree. So it's always important that we acknowledge people and validate them when they say something that is good and positive. So work on that. Pay attention to how many times that you're thinking something positive, but you're not sharing it. And then start to share. Tip 7, show people you're listening. Face them, nod your head, and don't interrupt them while they're talking. That's a big one. I used to interrupt all the time. So much energy, so excited. And I really had to pay conscious attention not to interrupt people. Am I perfect? No. But I'm much better than I used to be. So I want to encourage you to let people know you're listening. When you have an employee come in your office, don't pick up your cell phone and start checking text messages. I used to do that, or an email would pop in on my computer and go ding, and it would catch my attention. And it takes you out of the conversation. So close down your applications on your computer when you have a teammate come by to talk to you, or someone who reports to you who needs to talk. Give them your undivided attention. They're worth the time. Let them know that you care. This attention, this nodding, this eye contact, it all conveys that you value their perspective and that you care about what they have to say. Tip number 8, ask your teammates for feedback. Encourage them to offer a point of view that's different than your own. This makes it easier for them to be genuine with you and stimulates innovative thinking. Have you ever had a boss who's like only wants people who agree with them? Or maybe there's teammates who only want people to agree with what they have to say. How do you grow when you surround yourself with yes people? We need people who can give us different perspectives. So encourage other people to share. I'm thinking about this. Can you think of other things that might be contrary to what I'm thinking about? Or can you share some flip sides or downsides that I might need to consider as I'm taking this approach? Those are ways that you can ask for feedback. Tip number 9. Let your team members know when you're simply giving them an update versus when you're seeking their input. So it's true. Sometimes we just want to give somebody an update and we don't want feedback all the time. So it's okay to let them know. I just want to give you a quick update. I'm not looking for any feedback right now. I just want to share with you what's going on. And so when you simply need to update the team, simply say so. Otherwise, they may offer their input that you won't use, which then signals the message to them that you don't value what they have to say. So it's okay to ask for feedback, and it's okay to say, I just want to give you an update and I don't want any feedback today. And the last tip, tip 10, acknowledge your mistakes and don't unduly criticize others when they make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We do the best we can at the moment that we're in, and sometimes that's not good enough, but it's the best we could do at the moment. And we make mistakes. So that's just a normal part of life. So rather than focusing on the mistake, it's important that we focus on what we can learn in the mistakes that we make. When you can openly discuss your mistakes, it makes it easier for other people to acknowledge their mistakes as well, right? So be bold, be able to say, I made a mistake, so I messed up. Let me tell you what I did. And I hope you can forgive me for this, and I hope you can help me figure out a way to overcome this mistake and correct it now, and in the future how we can avoid making it again. Now I have 6 tips that are specific for leaders. Those first 10 were for everyone on the team. These next 6 tips are specifically for leaders in developing psychological safety in the workplace. 1, admit you don't know something, don't understand something, or if you make a mistake. When a leader does this, it makes it much easier for everyone else on the team to do so. Remember, leaders are modeling the behavior they want for the rest of the team. So if you want the rest of the team to acknowledge if they've made a mistake, then you need to do that as well. No one expects you as the leader to have all the answers. Some people micromanage other people and they feel like they have to have all the answers all the time, but it's okay to say, I don't have all the answers. Or, I know that you're a subject matter expert in this area and I'm going to let you make the decision in this situation. Tip 2 for leaders. Keep an eye on how often your team members speak up, voice dissension, provide feedback, ask questions, admit they don't know something or made a mistake, seek assistance, and try out new ideas. When you begin to notice that your team members are exhibiting psychologically safe traits, use it as a pulse check that your team is becoming healthier. If your team isn't doing enough of these interactions, talk with the team members individually, one-on-one, and ask them what's going on. And encourage them to build an environment of curiosity. Encourage them to ask their teammates for their viewpoints and their input, because building a trust is foundational to success. Tip 3 for leaders. Ask a team member to share his thoughts and opinions and respond respectfully when he does. So some people, particularly junior team members, need encouragement to speak up. When they do so, the reaction they get will determine whether they do it again. So if they voice their opinion on something and they get harsh feedback or they're shut down, chances are they're not going to want to share again. So it's really important that we talk as leaders one-on-one with our staff and let them know that we want to encourage them to interact, share their thoughts, and we also want to encourage them to respond in kind to their teammates when they're sharing something. And again, we need to model that behavior as the leader, that we're not shutting down team members who disagree with us. Tip 4 for leaders. Be clear about non-negotiables, what cannot be changed, and negotiables, areas where you do want their input. When team members know which topics are off limits and which decisions cannot be changed, they are less likely to bring them up. And later, if you do need to redirect the discussion away from those issues, they will understand why you're doing so. So just be very clear. This set of rules are non-negotiable. This is something that's set in concrete that we're going to be doing, and it's not open for discussion. Fair enough. You don't have to be open to discuss everything with everyone. You can have those non-negotiables. Tip 5 for leaders. Focus more attention on what can be learned from a mistake. Do differently next time, and less on assigning blame. You really messed this up, right? A learning-oriented focus allows people to acknowledge their mistakes and ask questions without feeling threatened. I've known several people who have had team meetings weekly where they expect team members and invite and encourage team members to come and share something that they made a mistake on that week and what they learned through that mistake. Because that encourages people to step out beyond their comfort zone to do something, not knowing whether it's going to work out or not, and knowing that it's going to be okay to try. So are you willing to do that as a leader? Are you willing to encourage people to make mistakes? Yeah, I want you on the cutting edge. I want you to try new, innovative things. Yeah, they might not all succeed, but that's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you proposed, what you're doing, and what was a mistake, and what you learned, and how we could try it again a different way. And the 6th tip for leaders for creating psychological safety in the workplace is try creating a devil's advocate role and assign different team members to assume that role and provide dissenting opinions and alternate views. See, if people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid of retaliation, if you've created a role and say, Carol, today you're going to be the devil's advocate in this meeting. This is what we're going to talk about. I want you to come prepared to talk about everything that might oppose that point of view. You're giving them permission to speak up on this. And creating this type of team role legitimizes dissension views and can encourage someone to speak up who might typically not do so. They are simply assuming the role, and they're not really challenging anyone because they were asked to play this role. So I really hope that you found value in today's discussion. These are great for the workplace, but if you think about it, they're also great with friends and with family. So remember, please drop me a note. This was valuable, great stuff, love it. And give me a call, set up an appointment with me on my calendar so that I can spend time with you, getting to know you, getting to know what's happening in your life and in your world. And if there's something that I can do to help you, I would love to know. I would love to be there for you. In the meantime, have an awesome week. Take care now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.